week's topic, explore consequences. Consequences are the repercussions of our actions, both good and bad. If you do this, then this will happen. While we're free to choose our own actions, we are not free to choose the consequences of those actions. Consequences could be a timeout or you owe recess time. For example, you have a spelling test on Friday and you really didn't study. The consequences could be that you get a poor or bad grade on the test. And then another consequence could be that your parents might be a little disappointed. Or what about when you talk out of turn in class? The consequences might be you have to flip a color, move your clip, or lose recess time. Everyone and everything has consequences. Let's take a look at an animal that must consider consequences every day. The hummingbird. There are about 325 species of hummingbirds around the world, but only one in Illinois, the ruby-throated hummingbird. These pine-side birds only weigh about 3 grams. A nickel weighs 5 grams. Hummingbirds have approximately 1,000 feathers, the fewest of any bird species in the world. It's because of their tiny size, and it keeps them lightweight for their flight. Their maximum speed, 30 miles per hour. Okay, so hummingbirds are really cool, but you know what? They can't actually walk or hop. They have no sense of smell, but they have a really good eyesight, which is good because they feed on nectar from flowers, so they can easily find them. You may be wondering what type of problems hummingbirds face each day, and we're going to explore a few. But we got to remember the steps. Say the problem, think of solutions, explore the consequences, and pick the best one. So we just learned hummingbirds rely on flowers and their nectar. But the hummingbird has a problem. It's getting cold here in Illinois, and the flowers are dying off for the season. Possible solutions: A, the hummingbird could stay, or B, fly south and migrate. Most hummingbirds migrate south across the Gulf of Mexico, 500 miles. Consequences the hummingbird needs to think about is if he stays, it might be too cold and he's not going to be able to find food. Or if he migrates, it's a long flight and he may not make it. Or he does make it, where it's warm and plenty of food. Another problem hummingbirds must consider is they have to eat about half of their body weight in sugar daily. They eat a meal about every 10 minutes, and after 8 hours, they could have eaten 48 small meals. But he has a dilemma. It's pouring down rain, and the hummingbird hasn't went out to get food yet. Should he A, stay in where it's warm and dry and not eat? Or should he head out and find food? The hummingbird has 2 possible solutions: stay in or go out. Each solution has consequences, positive and negative, or pros and cons. If he stays in, he'll be warm and dry, but he'll be hungry. If he goes out, he'll get food, but he'll also get wet and can damage his wings. The hummingbird decides to wait it out and hope that the rain passes. And sure enough, here comes the sun. So he's ready to head out and find some food. But there's a problem. There's a crow around bothering the hummingbird. Now he has a new dilemma. The crow is the problem. Possible solutions are he faces the crow or ignores the crow. If he ignores them, he's not going to be able to freely get food where his nest is. But if he faces the crow, there's a couple consequences he must consider. Like maybe getting hurt by the crow, maybe losing his territory to the crow, or maybe he wins and he can eat in peace. Oh, this is such a tough choice. Making decisions is hard, and sometimes there's no easy solution, but you always have to look at the consequences, both good and bad. Okay, friends, the choice is yours. What does the hummingbird decide to do after weighing all the consequences?
Draw a picture of what happens between the hummingbird and the crow. Write a story about the hummingbird and the crow. Make sure to include a solution and a consequence.